And then I can't stay the entire time. I was just given a long time. I just want to give you a heads up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to.
This whole thing should,
as
our instructor's saying take like 20, 30 minutes maybe.
Oh, okay.
really?
Cool.
If
We
we-
got so many mixed messages.
Yeah,
about
if we do it right. So
Okay.
Great.
Oh,
I think it depends though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to see how the conversation goes.
All
I
right.
want to make sure
So
you get everything you need. And I really want to learn more about your
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're excited.
all right. Objectives. All right, so part 1, develop 1-2 discipline-specific goals for the client. I guess to start, do you guys have any other additional questions about the gym
Yes.
and like his like physical or mental abilities or anything like that?
Yeah.
I wanted to know a lot more about his balance, like his APAs, his RPAs. When he said he wanted more trunk control, well, my question is, what makes him say he wants more trunk control? Because I feel like, or core control. Because I feel like when people say that, it means something different to everybody.
Right.
So I'm thinking, if it truly was like a trunk thing, like is he having trouble with sitting balance that he needs to increase his base of support, or is he feel like he can't really reach? Or I just want to know why, like what impairment that is actually tied to.
Right. So I think his balance is actually really good.
Okay.
Like he was doing like reaching down and like touching the ground, like standing without assistance, like a full squat, and then like getting back up without assistance.
Okay.
So his balance is really good. He does do like some exercise where he'll hold like a medicine ball and like go side to side, kind of increase trunk strength and control.
Okay.
But I think his main reason for wanting that is he just, like a lot of people, has a tendency to kind of like slouch, and he has a little bit of a shoulder subluxation on his left side. So just kind of changing up that posture could help, that functional reach and sort of increase his range of motion.
So
all around.
is he kind of aware of the posture issue and wants to improve that? Okay, cool. And is the shoulder pain a big issue? Is that one of his main goals, or?
On his left side, yes. I think David, what do you think? He says like a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, he did 4 out of 10, but he also removed his jacket without making any facial gestures and put his hand behind his back, and during flexion and abduction went up to about 90 degrees. So it does pinch, but I would say 4 out of 10.
Okay. So yeah, so he says it's about 4 out of 10. Like it's kind of always a little bit there when he's doing certain movements. Like David said, if he goes past 90 degrees, abduction or flexion, that's when it really hurts. But he also was able to take his jacket off without any like issues, so it's still functional. It just kind of wants to increase range of motion and decrease pain in his left shoulder, basically. That's sort of like the main thing, I would say.
Are there any things he can't do that he would want to be able to do that involve that shoulder motion, or not so much?
Hey, Dave, feel free to pipe in, but
No complaints about upper extremity abilities.
yeah, like most of the time he does. Like he still has like a workout routine that he does every morning, and then he'll do like the workout routines that like the facility puts on for them and stuff like that.
So I imagine he just can't do any like overhead.
Yeah,
things,
exactly.
or-
And like it's not like he's out, building stuff out of wood and reaching for a lot of things. Like, he's most of his like arm movements, like he'll do like his like poses for like martial arts and stuff. And it doesn't seem like that affects that.
He doesn't have pain when he's doing it.
Mm-hmm. Like he's pretty high functioning. Like even for somebody that hadn't had a stroke, he's high functioning for his age group.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, David and I afterwards were like, he's doing so well. I don't know
What does he need?
like,
Does he need us?
Yeah, exactly. Like
What was you're saying he wants to be able to walk farther? Like
Yeah.
how far can he walk and how far does he walk?
so
And does his foot interfere with that?
his feet don't really. I think he kind of has like a rigid gait.
Like stiff man wobbles?
Yeah, and it's like kind of shuffling and like rigid. And I think some of the shuffling aspect is just because he's afraid of falling, so it's more of a safety, so he's not, overstepping too much and losing balance or something like that.
Keeping a small, keeping in space of support, close to him.
And I would say that also, he walked with us. What do you think from that, bottom room up to his rooms? What, probably 100 and 150?
I'd say 120, 150.
So, and he did that just fine. And, some days he said, he'll go outside to the front, leave his walker by the front door and, walk down to, the street, which is about similar distance. So, yeah, he's probably between 100 and 150 feet walking, using, a handrail, just for safety, but doesn't necessarily need it.
Okay.
Do you know how far he wants to walk?
He didn't really specify.
He just wants to walk.
Yeah, exactly. He just wants to be able to, from what it sounds like, when he goes out on his walks, he'll walk around the complex, which is probably, I don't know, 2-3 block circle, would you assume, David?
I would say, yeah, but I don't know if he actually does the whole
Yeah,
thing.
we don't know exactly because we haven't gone in the Sentinel building, but around his area.
And that's what he usually,
probably
that's
a
his
couple
usual.
blocks is what I'm assuming, because we didn't have him show us, and he just said that he would walk around the facility. So
Okay. And when you're saying shuffling, is he dragging his feet, or
it's
is he,
not so
or is
much
he just
dragging.
taking small steps?
Yeah, it's just
More like that?
smaller.
Okay.
Yep.
Is he limited by fatigue then? His distance?
Yeah. Does he get tired quickly?
So,
I would
what's
say-
causing him to not be able to walk farther? Is it fear, or he
Right.
starts to get kind of tired and then that makes him nervous, or does he get I'm tired, I can't walk anymore?
Right.
And if you're not sure, that's totally okay. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to
I'm
get a
not-
picture of
no,
what
for
you
sure.
mean.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd assume it's probably more closely related to fatigue.
Okay.
And he does fine doing stuff and standing and moving around. But I think, just when he gets to those longer distances, he just gets tired and wants to be able to go for longer.
He does get tired. Okay.
So what do they have us doing here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
How's his his heart rate and blood pressure and?
we never got to take any of that,
Okay.
but he seemed fine.
He seemed okay and not dizzy or.
Yeah. Giving him
like
the old
that.
ocular pat down, it looked like he was doing fine.
Okay. And does he get out of breath or anything?
No?
Okay.
At least not that we've seen.
Yeah. The pain between the shoulder blades. So I don't know which document this was from, so it may not be a real thing that he has, but one of the documents said it was pain between the shoulder blades. And how long has that been going on? What makes it better or worse?
David, do you remember pain between the shoulder blades?
He didn't indicate that he had any pain anywhere between the shoulder blades.
Okay,
or
never mind then.
cervical area.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, it's just kind of the left shoulder.
Okay. More like anterior shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
That medial anterior glenohumeral joint just above 90 degrees. That was the only thing that he
Okay.
really indicated.
It could be due to minor subluxation or possible supraspinatus impingement, inflammation, stuff like that. He said some lady, he was walking around with his cane and some lady in a wheelchair flew by him and took his cane from him and kind of twisted his shoulder, and that's how he hurt his shoulder.
Oh, okay.
So
that would make sense.
yeah,
So
it
she
could
was
be
coming in the opposite direction and grabbed his cane.
basically.
How rude.
Yeah.
But how interesting. Okay.
He did not seem super thrilled with this one. She also apparently ran over his foot on another day. So
Oh
Is
my.
that what,
his shoulder,
right?
his right foot, yes, but that's a pretty mild, 1 out of 4 pain. I think.
And that was literally because she ran over his foot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to know what.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, just from we're thinking, it could be a minor rotator cuff tear, or yeah, inflammation causing bursitis or impingement, maybe.
How long ago was the foot thing? Is it getting better?
David, do you remember how long ago the foot stuff was?
The foot was about, I guess it'd be about almost 5 weeks now, but our last 2 visits, he didn't even mention it.
Oh, good. Okay, so it must be getting better.
He only mentioned it the first time we were there.
Okay. And is the shoulder getting better or worse or staying about the same?
Staying about the same.
How long has he had that one?
I think that happened like a week or 2 after.
Okay, so like
Yeah, they were right around the same time period.
Yeah.
Okay, so like about a month ago.
Yeah, it's probably
Ish.
safe to say.
Okay. That's pretty much all the info we need.
So
Okay. So yeah. So discipline specific goals. So for us,
Yeah.
our goals for him, I mean, he didn't need help doing any like ADLs. Do you guys use ADL? Okay.
Totally.
So he didn't need help with any ADLs or IADLs really. And then
What were ideals?
instrumental.
yeah, so it's like more kind of in-depth stuff like going shopping or like taking care of a pet
Like very
or home
specific
management,
task.
like
Okay,
more so than just like brushing your teeth,
got it.
housekeeping and lawn care and all that stuff.
Kind of more like complex.
Yeah,
specific tasks.
more complex ADLs that you may not do every day, but still do weekly, bi-weekly, whatever. So yeah, so he's super high functioning, didn't have too many like physical issues. Like his balance was really good, his strength was really good, range of motion was really good. It was just kind of limited because of pain on that left side. And so our thought and our goal and intervention that we ran with him was just to work with him to develop a home exercise program, just to, because he does some stuff, but you know, he's maybe not doing as much as he could to help kind of strengthen all the other muscles around his shoulders to try to reduce that subluxation and increase, you know, the muscles around that to kind of put the glenohumeral joint back in place and reduce pain hopefully a little that way. So we gave him like some shoulder exercises, a little bit of core exercises, a exercise to kind of work on increasing his like glutes and hamstring strength. Yeah, I think that's it. So
Nice.
that was our intervention for him.
Nice. Cool.
Off the top of your guys' heads, do you have
What do
any
we think of?
goals that you would think of?
Yeah. Well, I want to see like his, or if you want to
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
I want to see like if he has a lot of elderly people tend to have like kind of develop a hip contraction from this forward posture, and so they have these really tight hip flexors. So I'd want to see if that is contributing to this limited. When they limit, yeah, when they have a shuffling
okay.
gait, they don't really get into use terminal stance. So like you're stepping, and this leg is back here.
Right.
So imagine if I have a shorter step length, my leg does not really
Because that
Doesn't get
doesn't get full extension.
Yeah, so that's how people will limit their step length. So I wonder if like working on some flexibility here, and just like kind of working on like a big step with like a heel strike pattern would really help them. Like what we would do in the clinic that I was at is we would kind of count the amount of steps that they had per minute. Stroke patients, and we would set a metronome to a little faster than that and have them step to that.
Okay.
And they would kind of click into that, and we'd emphasize taking a big step, and that makes them get more hip extension, which creates faster walking speed.
Sure.
So that's where my mind is going. I'm really thinking about his gait, especially since he said that was a goal of his.
Right.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes it more to that, you know, automatic like gait, muscle memory, neural connections, rather than like thinking about it and overthinking, and maybe that's causing a little bit of shuffle too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And what he could do to work on it, aside from practicing walking, is he could stand, like with his hand on a kitchen counter and like step forward. Like take a big step forward and come back, and alternate that to mimic the gait. So kind of something like this,
just like almost gait training a little bit
Yeah,
with
for
repetition.
practice. Yeah, for practice of that, to get the same muscle activation pattern, so that when he goes to walk, that translates to like gait state.
Did you guys also do, when you were doing like flexibility assessment, did you measure his like hip extension? Like,
We didn't do hip extension.
Okay.
We did like a little bit, just like having.
We did do a little bit of hip extension.
what's that?
We did do a little bit of hip extension during the glute bridge.
Oh, you did a bridge. Okay.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
During one of the exercises is like while he's laying in bed, just pushing up
Nice.
on like all this weight like on his heels more
Love
so.
that.
And just doing that.
Awesome.
So I guess with that, a little bit of hip extension,
Okay.
but.
Okay, and that would be good because that would also just promote that kind of like a dynamic stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we would probably do like a Thomas test. Do you know what that is? So you have them like lie on their back, like on a plinth, but they're kind of on the edge of it, right?
Mhm.
And then bring up both knees and just lower one and then one at a time. And if the leg doesn't come all the way down to the table, that would be considered positive for like a hip
Okay.
flexure
Yeah,
contracture.
totally. I don't think we've done that. But.
Okay, yeah. So we would probably like test to see like is it a muscle length issue that he has this short step in his gait, or is it like hip flexor weakness?
Right.
And
It would be,
go from there.
or it could
Or
be
something
like
else.
glute weakness on one side, but the trailing leg would be like kind of like a balance.
I was thinking even hip flexor weakness and
Swing through.
in the swing phase, yeah. Or like for push off, like is he not getting enough push off? We would do like a lot
I
of gait
see.
analysis basically.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then test like specific impairments to decide like what is causing that short gait so that we can get him to step longer and walk faster.
Sure.
Because this, I see what you're saying with the weakness. Because the swing of one leg, if you swing and step farther, it makes the other leg stretch backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you see if this one is not swinging far enough forward will result in this one not extending.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's, yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, so he's not at all concerned about falling. You guys aren't at all concerned about falling.
Not really.
Even though he's super slow gait.
Yeah, and we did a fall assessment on him.
Oh, the bird.
Berg.
You did a bird. Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, he was
Yeah, that's
super high up there.
Awesome.
nice. The bird is pretty cool.
Ooh, interesting. Standing unsupported with eyes closed. 3 seconds.
So,
That makes sense. He's older.
well, for our balance, we did like a 5 times sit to stand. You guys ever do that one?
Yeah, totally.
So we did that, and he was within normal parameters for his age. And then we also did the reach assessment.
Oh, fast forward reach? Or
Yeah, just like the
Oh,
you're
or
standing,
just
like have to like
okay.
go forward.
Got it.
And like under 6 inches, you have like possible balance issues, and he reached out like 13 inches. So
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
See the with the alternating steps here, you alternate your feet on like a step, and it looks like that's what he had the most trouble with, which would make sense because
Oh,
problem shifting your weight and kind of balancing on one leg during that part of gait.
Right.
So when you're scuttling, you're like, it's like 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, instead of like 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, like spending a lot of time at double ebb
Okay.
instead of single. So that,
yeah, we might actually do that.
That
A whole bunch of
aligns
that
with that.
exercise.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think those marches might, those marches could be good for him.
Okay.
That you were saying, because that seems, that and the bird seems to translate with what kind of makes sense when you're describing his gait.
Mm-hmm.
Some marches, and it's a similar muscle activation pattern too.
Okay. Yeah.
So trying to do that, and then trying to not, I like to always say like at a counter for like so that you can do this for safety, but trying to work to like not using hands.
Which makes total sense.
So that's,
Okay.
Yeah.
So just gait assessments,
Yeah, I think
And
we would
then
pretty much
kind of
like
just-
focus on his gait just because
Yeah.
the
I mean, that's his biggest thing
yeah, and
that
like
you guys could definitely help us the most with.
yeah. I mean, I think